So NIO has partnered up with JD to sell more cars. And if you don't know about JD, JD is essentially the Amazon of China, whereas Taobao and Alibaba are more like eBay. All right. So JD, they have a lot of direct to consumer stuff. I personally buy a lot of stuff from JD, headphones from JD. I buy a lot of stuff from JD. And also JD's head, Liu Qiangdong, is also a founding investor in NIO as well. One of the first guys that William Li sat down with to discuss the prospect of starting an EV company called NIO. And Liu Qiangdong, the founder, the CEO of JD, was one of the first guys to invest in NIO and entrusted their money with William Li. And if you didn't know, JD also handles the logistics of a lot of NIO Life products. So if you buy something from NIO Life, it gets shipped via JD's shipping logistics, which is also very, very cool. So recently, what NIO has done is they've actually partnered up with JD Auto, to sell more cars. And this, what you're seeing right now, this is actually here in Beijing. They have partnered up and they've done one of these JD Auto sales exhibitions almost. And this is very, very cool. And this one is more like a trial run. They're doing it within JD's old headquarters. And JD has a lot of employees, like Amazon. Amazon has a ton of employees. So imagine you're trying to sell a product that a company that Amazon has invested in, for example, maybe Rivian, and then Rivian is trying to sell the cars to Amazon employees, that kind of stuff. So we got the same thing going on over here, similar, and as you can tell, in front of the car, they actually have it branded JD Auto instead of NIO. But you got NIO sales reps there to explain the car to people, and of course, with these B2B kind of sales, all right, they are not only in high volume, all right, there's also a small discount, a B2B discount for these customers. So these JD employees, instead of going to a store, if they bought it over there, they would get like a company discount, JD company discount, which would be very, very cool. Now, with these B2B sales, you would think that NIO has a dedicated team to do this, but they actually just have their sales reps handle the B2B customers. So this would just be like any other customer, these JD employees, and the NIO sales reps will treat them like normal customers, except they get favorable policies, privileges, and discounts, stuff like that. In case you didn't know, a lot of sales for a lot of the top selling new energy vehicle companies here in China are actually B2B. So for example, Li Auto, they sell a ton of cars to secondhand dealerships, basically at a discount bulk price. That's a lot of deliveries to them. And then these secondhand dealerships, they essentially have a new car that's, secondhand, but it's pretty much brand new with like less than 100 kilometers on the mileage, and they're able to sell it to their own customer base, which they do have, for a slight profit. And that's all. It's a big win-win for everybody. The company gets rid of cars, and then that counts as deliveries. The secondhand dealerships, they also earn some profit. They have a brand new car, essentially selling it for cheaper price, and then also the customers that buy these cars from these secondhand dealerships also get a very good deal. They buy a brand new car but at a discount. So it's a win-win-win situation for all three parties, and that is partially why companies like Li Auto have been delivering a lot of vehicles. Now, NIO, they have done B2B in the past, like this, in bulk to secondhand dealerships, but it was only for first-gen models when it was being phased out. Now, I would really love to see NIO do more of that, But that does mean that there would not be price stability for the price of the car. Now, in the future, they can hold a lot more of these, specialized, dedicated, sort of like internal sales events for different companies. And it's beneficial for all parties because, the employees of those companies, they get to buy a NIO for a slight discount. And then also, it's sort of like a perk for everybody there. And, if they don't want to buy the car, they don't have to. And it's also beneficial for NIO, of course, they get more deliveries. So it's very nice that they're doing these kind of events and activities. What you're seeing across the market is that a lot of companies, they're struggling with delivery numbers. They gotta cut prices and sometimes even force the franchisees to take on more inventory. For example, it's what Xpeng is doing. They're forcing their franchisees to buy half of the sales target in inventory, and that essentially just is not such a good way of handling things, just throwing the burden to franchisees, and they would have to eventually cut prices, try to boost sales, etc. Like the Hi-Fi debacle, if you look at the whole thing that's happening with Hi-Fi, the direct-to-consumer stores still have it as the super expensive price. But the franchisees, they are cutting prices like crazy because they want to get rid of inventory. So you got this big disparity between prices from the direct-to-consumer stores versus the franchisees. So definitely throwing the burden to the franchisee is not going to work. Whereas this method, hosting a lot of these activities, sales and promotion events, these are very, very cool. And of course, as you can tell from the video, they sold a lot of vehicles from that one event alone because these are, JD headquarters execs. They get hefty bonuses every year. So definitely a very, very interesting way of presenting the car there. And these guys, they work day and night. They're high up execs. They might not be able to get access to the car as close as they would like if it wasn't for this kind of event. Now, we do know for a fact that for the second brand, NIO's brand, the Alps, also codenamed Alps, but name is actually going to be Envo. They're going to be franchisees, essentially dealerships in second and third tier and so on cities, whereas for the main cities in Beijing, Shanghai, that's going to be direct to consumer, and they're already getting the sales reps ready for that. They got like 30 sales reps per store. Half of that, or even more than half of that, will eventually go to sub-brand. But also, it's a good process to weave out the weak ones from the strong ones and keep the strong ones. And always, they're constantly hiring more and more sales reps. And yes, I know some of you guys are very concerned. They have so many sales reps, but the deliveries just year over year decrease. Doesn't look that good. Why do you have so many sales reps? You should fire the sales reps. It's a disgrace. But understand that it's for future talent in the sub-brand, which is coming at the end of this year. The vehicles, all right. The vehicles are being delivered at the end of this year.